Business was based, I think, they had 10 employees, of which most were paid in a drink called Colt, which is like Danish Red Bull, because Red Bull at the time was banned in Denmark. So they were literally paid. Oh, right. They were literally paid in an energy drink based on a farm in a basement. And so the business was tiny.
Coca-Cola obviously shaped you then. You got you to a certain point in your career where you felt like you wanted more. And then you met Jesper, is it? Yeah. Talk us through that period in your life. How did you meet Jesper and how did Just Eat come about?
I can never help but smile when I think of Jesper. So it's all credit to Jesper. Genuinely, it's all credit to Jesper. So at the time I was, as I said, I was responsible for running the UK and restaurant business for Coke. And Jesper, one of a Danish colleague who was working for Coca-Cola, said, hey, listen, I've got this entrepreneur from Denmark. He started this business in Denmark called Just Eat. At the time, Just Eat was tiny, literally a small business based on a farm in a town called Vejle, which is about smaller than Cwmbran. So literally the business was based, I think they had 10 employees, of which most were paid in a drink called Colt, which is like Danish Red Bull, because Red Bull at the time was banned in Denmark. So they were literally paid. Oh, right. They were literally paid in an energy drink based on a farm in a basement. And so the business was tiny. And Jesper was coming to the UK, and this Danish opposite number of mine said, would I give him some time and get to know him and introduce him a little bit to the UK restaurant scene and tell him a bit about it. So like all good things, we had a meeting and we ended up, I think, in Nando's. So we ended up in Nando's in Hammersmith.
Great place to have a meeting.
Yeah. So Jesper said at the end of this meeting, he said, we should start Just Eat together in the UK. He said, we should do it together. I said, what are you talking about? Like, what are you? You have literally, from what I could gather, literally 10 employees in a farm in Denmark who you don't pay with cash because you didn't have any much money. So he was literally paying them with an energy drink.
This is astonishing.
So I was like, I said, tell you what I'll do. I'll come to Denmark. Because he said, come over, we'll hang out. Because we did hit it off. Yeah. So I said, look, mate, at the time, I had a serious job at Coke, and I had a mortgage, and I was just about to get married and all that.
You were walking away from a lot, really.
Yes.
It was a big risk at the time.
So I was flying back, and I thought, I was flying home thinking, if we don't do this in the UK, someone's going to do it. Because the UK restaurant market, I've obviously been working in it for 2 years for Coca-Cola, so I got to know it quite well. I knew a lot of people. And it was really obvious that two things were going to happen. One was, and this was Jesper's statement when we were in that Nando's, you can order a hotel and book a hotel online. This was 2005. You can book a flight online. So why the hell would you not be able to order food online? And he said, look, Domino's at the time had just started to migrate their customers online. He said, these independent guys are going to get left behind, and the major franchise brands will build digital platforms, and the independents will be screwed. And I was sat there literally thinking, Jesper was very colourful, right? And I'd come from this corporate background, so I was a bit like, this guy's he's all over the place. But equally, I thought, he's brilliant, he's very inspiring, and he's right. So I went home that night, and I said to my wife, I said, that statement I just said to you, if someone's going to do this, and I might regret it for the rest of my life if I don't give it a go. And you said a moment ago, it was a bit of a risky thing to do, but it wasn't in a way. Because it was 2005, the job market was really good. I'd had 8 years at Coke. I didn't feel like I was taking a massive risk. It was a bit of a risk. I said, yes, but there's one part of the deal that's non-negotiable. You have to open on March the 1st, St. David's Day, for good luck. So we opened Just Eat on March the 1st, 2006. And we had our bumps on the road but along the way, but that was kind of the story.
What were the biggest setbacks in the first, say, 5 years for you, where you really thought, oh, God, this is over, or we can't, I'm losing belief here. Then you must have had some periods where you questioned yourself.
Yeah, there's some dark places you go. For anyone who's built a company, this is really tough. I mean, I definitely underestimated the emotional roller coaster. I haven't had the stability of a corporate life. Yeah. In August 2006, we ran out of cash, or we were running out of cash.
So that's like a year and a half in.
Yeah, so we were starting running, and that's a horrendous moment. Anyone who's been a founder or an entrepreneur will tell you, or CEO or whatever, will tell you that we was hurtling towards a brick wall. I think we had 8 weeks, not long. We were literally nearly out of cash. So that was.
How many employees did you have at that point then?
Not that many. Probably in the UK, I will go 12, 15. Right. But still, it was a scary moment.
It's more personal then, though, isn't it?
Of course.
You know what I mean? You feel like actual responsibility for these people.
Yeah,
then,
of course. And I go back to the fear of failure is definitely something that drove me. So yeah, and no surprise, the platform was built a bit like spaghetti, and it crashed and failed. And when you have a platform that is like Just Eat, which is two-way communication between restaurant and consumer, and you're delivering hot food in 45 minutes, when a platform goes down, consumers and customers are like hungry bears. They're twitching at the curtains. If you know, it's like with takeaway food. If the food's 5 minutes late, you're irrational. 5 minutes in most parts of your life is neither here nor there. But if takeaway's 5 minutes late, people are ringing the restaurant. They're opening the curtains. Where's the delivery guy?
You get really angry really quickly.
Really angry,
talking
right?
From experience.
So that was, the platform went down, and we literally had to rebuild the platform.
Wow.
And that was could have been the end of the business, actually, reputationally, but. Fortunately, a bit like, I guess, Apollo 13, about slightly less dramatic in terms of it was takeaway, not people's lives. But necessity is the mother of all invention. So we rebuilt the platform, which would have taken, as most tech CTOs will tell you, 6 to 12 months. We did it in about a fortnight. So we managed to stand the platform back up, and in that fortnight period, we were literally on Skype calls every night, literally managing and throttling the traffic on the site. So we'd close parts of the web browsers, we'd shut down PPC to lower demand for the platform, to try and throttle it, try and keep it from crashing and hitting the wall.
Bear in mind, sailing a ship through icebergs everywhere.
Very much so, and it was, bear in mind, the platform at that time wasn't hosted on AWS where it is now. It was literally on servers in a farm in Denmark. So that's how Just Eat started.
Spike at times like Friday nights, Saturday lunchtime, these specific, it's a really odd one, isn't it? I mean, and obviously we'll talk about AWS in a moment, but how, look, I mean, the technology triumph of Just Eat is the most impressive thing to me. Well, I told someone the other day I'm interviewing David Buttress, and they responded, ask him if he'll introduce me to Snoop Dogg. And what I mean by that is that people know you for your marketing prowess and the branding, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Actually, my favourite Just Eat ad, just quickly, was Belly and Brain. You should go and check it out on YouTube. It's our first TV ad.
I don't think I remember that.
Go and check Belly and Brain out on YouTube. It's our first TV ad back in 2009 or 10. We had the balls as a tech company to go on television when everyone in tech was saying it's paid marketing, it's got to be measurable.
Social media, it's got to be web advertising.
It's got to be web advertising. And we had
went to the traditional.
And I think it was a little bit from my Coca-Cola background in Jesper being like quite a creative guy. We knew there was something in us, definitely, and I can't remember, who was responsible. It doesn't matter. Jesper was definitely big brave guy in terms of decision making, and I definitely come from the Coca-Cola background. Understood that to build a brand, there was no better, and still to this day, actually, there's no better medium than television. In terms of brand advertising.
You think that's still the case?
Mass marketing wise, still incredibly powerful.
In terms of certain times of the day.
Certain times of the day and relevant audience. Yeah, so back in 2009, it was definitely true. So we had a little bit of conviction around that, probably more than every other tech company. You'd be like, it's so uncool to be on television. It's not smart. You can't make it. So we definitely went against the tide a bit there. But then, to go back to that point around the brand advertising, the tech platform. Again, I have to give a lot of credit to Jesper, and there's another guy called Rune, who's a Danish guy, who he and I became like literally living together on times in the office.
Fueled by Red Bull.
No, I never liked Red Bull.
Not him, what about?
He was Red Bull. I was still quite a company man. I like Coca-Cola. But so Rune and Jesper had the foresight, and I think Just Eat for the first certainly 5 years had a huge competitive advantage because of this. They built, believe it or not, a bespoke box called the Just Connect box. And this box, they basically had a SIM card built into it, and it was a data SIM, and it had a literally GPRS. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
GPRS signal, and it meant that any takeaway restaurant could communicate in real time to a consumer at home with our platform. So if you were on your BlackBerry, remember them, or if you were on a web browser, you could place an order on Just Eat. The order would go in real time. It used to take 1.6 seconds to go from your device to the restaurant's Just Connect box. It's about the size of a shoebox. It had
they had a box in there. I
had
never knew that.
Thermal printer, and all it needed was electricity to be plugged in. It had a thermal printer and this GPRS SIM card data SIM in it and a circuit, and the order would arrive at the box in 1.5 seconds roughly. It was 1.6.
Wow.
And then they had 4 buttons on it. Yes, no, delivery time could be changed in increments of 5 minutes.
And every one of your restaurants...
Every restaurant had a Just Connect box.
Right.
And we sold them, we didn't give them away. So even though we had nothing at the time in terms of Just Eat, we sold these boxes for 250 quid to the restaurants.
Yeah,
they
bought into it more then.
Get them bought into it, correct, right? If you don't pay for something, you don't value
absolutely.
it. So they pushed the button, and then as soon as they pushed the button to accept, the order was accepted on the consumer's device within 1.6 seconds, which meant you closed the loop. So they had a confirmation and the certainty and they communicated in real time-ish with the restaurant. And that for independent restaurants was totally revolutionary in 2005-06.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally revolutionary. In fact, our competitors was using faxes.
Really?
Yeah.
So Hungry Horse. Hungry House.
Yeah, correct. They were used. I love it though when people always call it horse. And
it's the pub, innit?
I love that. I can't tell. I never got bored of it. And it goes back to brand building.
Yeah.
And fax. They had a fax, and then when they became innovative, they used email. But of course, the problem with email, you're requiring a takeaway restaurant owner who's incredibly busy to read his emails and reply.
Not quick enough.
So we had this huge technology advantage, which meant customer care wise, most of our orders we never had to touch them; they were all automated.
Gotcha.
In terms so the Just Connect box is not spoken often. We to be fair to Jesper and Runa, they built some technology in the low cost economy of Denmark. I'm sure obviously we moved it to China eventually, but that device was I'll tell you something funny. If you go into a takeaway restaurant even today and you ask them about Just Eat, they call the Just Eat, can I see your Just Eat box, right? They call it the magic box. Really? Because they couldn't believe in the early years that orders came out of it. They were like, "What orders?" I think they thought we were bluffing. It's like, what is it? So it got nicknamed by the restaurant industry the magic box because these orders just suddenly started appearing.